Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Mr. Bert.
How are we doing tonight? It's great to be here. Really proud to be here. Really proud of this partnership. Psyched to kick it off. You know, that little teaser that we saw a couple minutes ago, the Join Us for Good teaser, my favorite part was that woman who said, "You can't just show up." Let me ask you a question. On Sunday, did the Patriots just show up? Did the Patriots just show up? Life is Good doesn't just show up, and Eastern Bank doesn't just show up. We do more than run a business. So what I'm going to do for the next 20 minutes is I'm just going to give you an example of a business that's more than a business. We don't believe that life is good, and apparently at Eastern Bank, you don't believe that people were born for business. Business was born for people. Business should serve the needs of the people that work at that business and the communities where you do business. And that's what this partnership is all about. So I'm pretty excited to join you guys for good. We grew up in Needham, which you guys know where that is, a little bit west of Boston. And Needham's a beautiful town, an upper middle class town, but we didn't grow up in an upper middle class house. You know that there's different income levels within one town. And everybody else in town had a two-car garage, but we actually didn't even have heat where the kids were, where the 6 kids were. We're the youngest of 6 kids. Our dad worked at a machine shop, and our mom raised the kids. And you know, it's interesting because our older brothers and sisters, there's bookcases and bookcases filled with photos of them. This is one of 3 photos of our childhood. I don't know where the hell the photo. I said to my mom not long ago, you know, where are the photos? She said, you know, we ran out of money. We lost the camera. I don't know. I said, I can forgive you, but how about putting some goddamn sheets on the bed? That's it for me. No. We have fun, but everybody's life has their challenges. And for us, when we were in elementary school, our parents had a near-death car accident. And our mom came out of it pretty well because she had her seatbelt on. But our dad lost the use of his right arm permanently. And for an avid outdoorsman and a gifted craftsman, it impacted his life tremendously. And I think looking back as an adult, it's fair to say that he became depressed. His version of the American dream fell apart. And he wasn't making enough money. You know, I can tell you when I was in 1st, 2nd grade, I knew when payday was. We'd have plenty of food for the first week, and the second week we didn't. And it was strange in a community like Needham to be living like that. And our dad was real frustrated, and he was yelling and screaming every day and every night. He was screaming at our mother. He was screaming at all of us kids, screaming at things on the floor, screaming at the house, screaming as the lawn grew. And he just lost it. He really did. He was never a bad guy, but he got focused on what went wrong. And our mom was on the other side of that equation. Our mom was the first powerful optimist in our lives. She focused on what was going right. She knew that the home was dysfunctional. She knew that we had problems, but she didn't ignore those things, but she didn't pour our energy and our limited resources into those things. She sat us around the dinner table, and she asked a really simple question at the beginning of every meal. She said, "Tell me something good that happened today. Tell me something good that happened today." Try starting your meetings with that, because if you don't, somebody can show up and start telling you about all the problems at Eastern, and in your 45-minute meeting, 44 of those minutes can go to the problems, and then you got 1 minute left for solutions. So it works in business, and it certainly worked in our family. Pretty soon we'd be laughing and, you know, ripping on the funniest thing that happened that day and acting like a family. And our mom showed us how to change the energy in that house. Really simple lesson. If we were smarter, many years later, when my brother and I started designing t-shirts and selling them in the street, we would have gone straight to Life is Good, but we weren't that smart. We spent about 5 years selling in the street, and we bought a van. We called the van the Enterprise, and we told each other we were going to boldly go where no t-shirt guys gone before. And we got in that van, and we did not go to outer space. We went up and down the East Coast, and we were barely getting by all those years. We slept in the van at night, and we had a lot of conversations. We went and visited. People always look at the old pictures and they say, oh, life is good now. Life is good, you got this great business. Life must have sucked when you were sleeping in the van. We always say, no, you missed the point. Life was good when we were sleeping in that van, because we got to go visit a lot of colleges that we couldn't get into. Right? And we did. Who would have dreamed of going to UNC? We'd throw the frisbee or football around, chase girls, and hang out, you know? It wasn't so bad. Everybody always wants to hear about the suffering. We weren't suffering. We weren't making money, and we couldn't figure out the business, but we were having a good time. And I think Life is Good was unfolding because life is good not because of what you have or even because of where you are, but because of your disposition, because of your view of the world. And our mom gave us that gift at a young age, that you can change your surroundings and the energy of your surroundings through your disposition. So as we were traveling, we had many conversations, and one conversation changed our lives forever. It was a recurring conversation about how the media inundates us with negative information, always reinforcing over and over what's wrong with the world rather than what's right with the world. And we hated this conversation. As optimists, it bothered us. And finally, in the midst of it, we thought, well, what do optimists do? You know, pessimists focus on obstacles, but optimists focus on opportunities. So what's the opportunity in this big, hairy mess? Maybe we could make a t-shirt brand that focuses on what's right with the world. We weren't sure about it, so we did the only thing that anybody does in Boston when you're trying to figure something out. You could probably guess. We had a keg party. Sounds logical, right? We had a keg party, and we had a very diverse group of friends, and we were sharing a divey little apartment, and we let people write on the walls what they liked and what they didn't like. And on the road, we had drawn a bunch of things. And my brother had drawn, after this conversation, the first Jake. That's the original Jake with magic marker and crayons. And it didn't say life is good. You know, sometimes as business leaders, we think we have to figure everything out. One of our lessons along the way is you don't have to figure things out. If you remain open, we consider openness a superpower. And if you remain open, people will help you. Your coworkers will help you, your customers will help you, your community will even help you. We help each other. And so what happened is a girl that came to the party looked at that picture of Jake, and she put an arrow on the wall, and she said, this guy's got life figured out. And we liked that a lot, but we knew that it was too many words to put on a t-shirt. So we distilled it into the 3 words, life is good. And 2 days later, we got out in the street. That photo's taken in Cambridge in 1994, across the street from McDonald's. And there's JJ, maybe the only day of his life he's ever worked. And you know, the interesting thing is it's 21 years later, and he did a great job drawing Jake. He's still my partner in the business, but he hasn't done a damn thing since. So we sold 48 t-shirts in 45 minutes. We were down to, I think as Paul mentioned, $78. After 5 years of business, it wasn't that we had $78 to invest in the beginning. We were down to $78. That was it. So really on that day, if it didn't work, we were out of business. And it did work. People from all walks of life bought that simple message, those 3 simple words, life is good. Everybody gets crushed with the media. Everybody hears what's wrong all the time. So all of a sudden, we saw a guy on a Harley, a preppy school teacher, and a punk kid on a skateboard with purple and green hair, all buying the same t-shirt, and it stunned us. So you know what we did? The thing that anybody in Boston does when the next time they're trying to figure something out. Drive down the Cape and go swimming in the ocean, right?